All right. Hello, fellow revolutionaries. I mean, when it comes to opening these up, let's get to the stuff that really matters. One, I, as always, hope that this finds you well. I hope you're with people that you love and care about or can stand in the midst of all this. And also, never forget, I'm always praying for you. Yes, I send my post it notes right to God on your behalf. Well, more up. In Jesus' name, every day, for all of your sakes. So, you're prayed for. Know that. Okay, first things first. I guess none of you particularly care what order I do this stuff in, but Ancapistan address for you, the people. One, okay, for the longest time, I can only talk about the perspective of what Ancapistan has been for the administration. Obviously, I used to frequent local pubs and places that distributed both mead and sin. God bless those establishments for the job creators that they are, but clearly I don't, drink or anything anymore. But in my time being in these establishments, I cannot tell you how many times people came up to me and were angry, not about what I posted, but what someone else posted on DNA. Yes, believe it or not, most of the nearly violent altercations I had gotten in were from what was posted on the page, and it's so funny. It was like stuff I didn't even agree with. But long story short, it's crazy that we had been labeled for so long, a MAGA page, or a conservative page. I know I'm openly ANCAP, and this isn't a video about me. This is about us as a whole as Ancapistan, but we have to talk about the past in order to understand the present, and with that the future and where we're going. But for the longest time, we were considered pretty much a safe space for MAGA, Pepe, full-on conservative, almost alt-light. I mean, don't think that I wasn't aware of the association. And then there was the public page, which I still stand by. I still stand by completely Tower 7ing and obliterating from existence. I don't think anyone here in Ancapistan is upset that I had to Old Testament God that page. But for the longest time, we've been associated as a conservative page. And evidently not so much anymore. I didn't mean to draw a line in the sand here. I'm not doing grandstanding. Again, the white people pretty much need to just shut up, listen, and if you're participating, just evidently we have to call out the racism within our fellow white friends that when you're this, and got all this going on, your experience is obviously different. And to say differently, like, I'm sorry, stop huffing your white privilege paint. But the argument or debate that's happening right now, I can't wrap my head around the fact that so many people are pissed off about reality. Okay, so moving forward with everything that's been said about us being, say, like, a MAGA page. Not so much, I guess, anymore. And I also wanted to say, speaking as a whole, the greatest, and I mean the greatest dispensary in all of Florida, some of their finest, will be joining us on the mic soon, which will be representing the LGBT, the Hispanic, and the other, let's just say, alien white folks like me who were, clearly sent. Um, you'll appreciate all of them, but they'll have very unique perspectives. And that's another thing I wanted to account for and talk to all of you about. I guess this would be like item 2.5. I know a show hasn't come out yet, which I'm not trying to draw attention to, but it's important to not just put out content, but put out content that matters. So when I highlight these individuals, like, oh, a Hispanic and an LGBT and a white guy, like, no, I'm not reducing these people to labels. What I'm doing is that if you don't acknowledge people's culture, if you don't acknowledge people's experience, and you don't acknowledge that it's different than yours, well, this all lives matter, or we're all the same. It's like, look, wherever your heart is, let's just segue right into data point 3. You know what? To not acknowledge people different than the default white male character of life, you know, to erase that and to say it's all the same is to stop the conversation before it can start. And you all know where I'm going with this. So yes, we're gonna have diversity on the show that we're gonna highlight and recognize, not to reduce them to, but to acknowledge and celebrate. Also, next item, just gonna tell you all up front, I'll be doing a show with or without the next guest if need be. So I just don't want you guys to think that I'm going to leave you without anything, because yeah, it's a bread line. You got to at least have bread, you know. And so yes, we'll have more diversity coming in with them, more perspectives, and also something else that I wanted to touch on. No, I don't hate anyone. I'm not like against anyone. Like, we don't have to agree to be friends. I try to, you know, use that as an example. I'm not waging any digital wars on other pages or people or anything. But I can't help but, you know, I guess this would be point 4 or 5 at this point in the video. Maybe you're all keeping track more. You know, we're also gonna have an intro soon to these YouTube videos, so you can all feel extra awesome about sharing and getting subscriptions going. But yeah, because I know that's like a major priority, getting the administration subscriptions. But yes, we'll be having another intro. Show will come out one way or another, I assure you. But the last thing that I wanted to touch on, kind of rolling back to the beginning, is the perceived idea that our page was MAGA or conservative, or in any place a safe space for non-safe spaces. I can only speak on behalf of the administration. But I also wasn't trying to draw a line in the sand. But who we are as a page is not me. It's not me that you believe in. It's not DNA that you believe in. It's yourselves. So if we're no longer this safe space for what has been seen as racism, if we're no longer a safe space for what we've seen as veiled ignoring, or, you know, whatever this wasn't aware of before, whatever we are or are not now, it's because of you. And anything I have to say is simply a reflection of that. Remember, you are the revolution, and we will see you in the threads.